Welcome to the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. Today's date is Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. This meeting will now come to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, Donnell.
Here.
Gunter.
Here.
Good. Here. Lorraine.
Here.
Lehman.
Here.
Long.
Here.
Lastra.
Here.
Steinke.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Item 4, changes or adoption of the agenda.
Move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Steinke and Kilrain made the second. Is there any discussion? All right, we will now take a voice poll. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. All right, item 5, approval of the minutes. Copy of the draft regular meeting minutes from January 14th, 2026 were included in your meeting packets. Can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve as presented.
Okay, great. Thank you, Commissioners Kilrain and Lehman. Let's see, any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, motion carried. Thank you. Item 6, citizens input time. For input on matters concerning the City of Cape Coral Community Redevelopment Agency, are there any members of the public wishing to speak?
Yes, ma'am. I have one comment card.
Okay,
Tom Shadrack.
okay. Mr. Shadrack? Good morning.
Tom Shadrack, permanent resident. I thought this is when the council meeting was starting. I didn't know there was a CRA meeting this morning, so I apologize. But I do have a comment then for the CRA. When looking at the debt, there was a discussion at the workshop about $25 million to bond Bimini East, which is in the CRA. And I was curious about the fact that if you bond something, the CRA is basically made up of just millage property tax monies. I didn't think we could use millage to pay a bond issue unless you had a referendum to approve that. So I'm curious on how we get around that, or if it's got to be financed because it's going to lose 25 million over the long term. How is that being able to be bonded with CRA funds? There may be a simple answer, but I was just curious. That's all for this. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Marie Kavanaugh. Last week at the regular council meeting, I handed in a sheet with a whole bunch of points I needed addressed, and I want to readdress some of those. Regarding resolution 69-26, I asked the question and I still have not heard anything because I'm sure it has to come from the city attorney.
Ms. Kavanaugh, I'm so sorry. Are you
constitutes violations that implicate.
Ms. Kavanaugh, I'm so sorry. Are you speaking regarding items related to the CRA? This is our CRA meeting. The next meeting will be our CAL meeting, and you can come for citizens
Well, with the yacht club, you're spending too much money. You got to scale it back.
Okay.
You don't give us any time to talk about anything.
Okay. Thank you, Ms.
Yeah,
Kavanaugh.
okay.
Come to the next citizens input. All right. Citizens input is now closed. Do we have any commissioner comments for citizens input? All right.
That is a good question because someone asked me
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
Could you just speak to that piece? Because someone asked me on the end about the millage and the
Mr.
CRA.
Chisholm, I see your light on. Do you want to speak
Could you
to
address
this?
that, just for clarification?
Yeah, so the how CRAs are funded is there's a base year, which is the year that the CRA is established, and the total taxable value in the CRA boundary at that year is the base year. All the improvements that are made within the boundary to existing buildings or new growth, all the additional value, the millage associated with that, for both the city and the county, are then transferred from our general fund to the CRA. And so what the point of, and I've said this before, a CRA is completely different than a city. You're wearing a totally different hat in these meetings. The goal of the Community Redevelopment Agency, based on our plan, is to redevelop that area. And the benefit is that we get the county's ad valorem portion for the properties in there as well as the cities. So you're leveraging our own millage to get the counties, and then all of that is done to redevelop the CRA. Also, I mean, I think you need to say this, I know there was a question by Commissioner Steinke during our budget workshop who observed the 25 million that was going to be converted from commercial paper to long-term debt. That has always been the plan. I don't know the reasoning for the question, but it's been discussed. The media covered it. And to say that the Bimini project is going to lose 25 million, it's not accurate. It's fake information. It's false. That is not the case. The whole idea is to take what we bought for 40 million. We took down the buildings. We're going to redevelop that with $200+ million in investment. All of that incremental value, the taxable value, we will get into the CRA to pay off the debt service above and beyond. So I don't know where those statements come from. It's obviously a misunderstanding of how CRAs work and the financing plan that was discussed with council before we even went forward with the purchase. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Kilrain.
Yeah, I think the question pointed toward the debt incurment. And the debt is not incurred by the CA, the debt's incurred by the city. So, and it's based on the foundation of the property. So really the city has the capability of incurring debt. And I think that was the directive question, I think, so.
Yeah, so prior to the acquisition, the CRA Commission passed a resolution indicating that the CRA would be funding the debt service payments. And so then when we went to council on the acquisition, that CRA action was known, and then we moved forward with the acquisition.
You good?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Seeing no more comments on, we're going to go now to the consent agenda. Do we have any items that the commission wishes to pull from our consent agenda? I have one. I'd like to pull item number 3, which is a resolution of the Cape Coral Community Redevelopment Agency amending Resolution 1125, which adopted the budget for fiscal year 2026, providing for an effective date. I wanted to see if I could get Zach to talk about that.
Do you want a motion to approve?
Oh, sorry. I need a motion to approve the remaining agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda with the removal of item number 3, CRA Resolution 5-26.
Thank you. Do I need to do a roll call? Okay. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Aye.
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 Zach, will you just go over what we went through on our ride? That you kind of went through all of the consent agenda items, but mainly number 2 and 3, and can you just kind of tie them in and explain?
Good morning, Commissioners. Zach Gogol, CRA Project Manager. We did poll for discussion number 3. I don't believe we're discussing number 2
I'm
on
sorry, I meant number, oh crap.
there. Okay, and number 3 is a budget amendment 1 by finance. And what I'd like to do is have them go through their presentation first, and
Okay.
then any questions that you may have, I'll answer after that.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Nicole Reitler, Budget Administrator for the city. Thank you for joining us today for the Community Redevelopment Agency Budget Amendment Number 1. The purpose of today's resolution and presentation is to walk you through the adjustments for your first budget amendment for fiscal year 2026. This amendment recognizes any board action items that have been approved to date for fiscal year 26, as well as recognizes our fiscal year 2025 end-of-year balance adjustments and allocations pursuant to Section 163-3877 of Florida statutes. Lastly, this amendment recognizes the change in revenue to reflect the final adopted millage rate of 5.1471 from 5.2188 for the CRA. As previously approved with your Resolution 11-25, which finalized your CRA budget at $7,455,201, today's budget adjustment recognizes an increase in budget of $860,720 or 11.5% on Resolution 5-26, bringing your total CRA budget to $8,315,921. Included in this budget amendment, we have an increase in your fund balance for your fiscal year 2025 items, which include the encumbrance carryforwards and end-of-year balance adjustments for $921,000. And then we do have a decrease in your transfers in from the general fund for the TIF portion, which was a result of the reduction of your millage rate. Included in today's amendment on the funded items brought forward, we have $279,000 in encumbrances that have been rolled forward from fiscal year 2025 to fiscal year 26. This includes any outstanding purchase orders for products or services that were due to the CRA at the end of the year. In addition to the encumbrance, staff worked with the executive director to allocate the remaining balances of $642,000 from fiscal year 2025 per Florida statute. The direction provided was to add an additional $120,000 for Bimini Square sidewalk for installation from the Cape Coral Parkway East to the Bimini Basin Restaurant. We added $23,000 to Founders Park Captain's Walk for waterfront access. $300,000 was added for the Iguana Mia parking lot improvements. And lastly, we added $199,000 to our Palm Tree Public Square Improvements Project, which is the property adjacent to the old golf course. With that, today we are looking for approval of Resolution 5-26, which amends Resolution 11-25 for the Cape Coral Community Redevelopment Agency budget for fiscal year 2026, as well as we are looking for approval on the appropriations of $642,466 to the projects below. With that, I'm here for any questions.
Thank you so much for reviewing that. And Zach, I appreciate you taking me to look at these items. It's very helpful. Prior to CRA meetings, I've made a commitment to go with Zach and look at some of these projects, and Bimini is turning out beautifully. So thank you for that. Do we have any commissioner comments? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Great. Madam City Clerk, can you do the roll call?
Yes. Donnell,
Aye.
Gunter,
Aye.
Paduk. Aye. Kilrain,
Aye.
Lehman. Long.
Aye.
Lastra,
Aye.
Steinke.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, we have no unfinished business, new business, follow-up items for the executive director. Seeing none, we're going to go down to the reports from staff. Code compliance update. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Patrick Mercado, Code Compliance Officer, contracted to the CRA. I would like to start today with the statistical information provided by my supervisor. I'd like to go through by columns. If we start at the left, we're looking at open cases to closed cases at the top. for open cases at 23 compared to the number at the bottom of 40. That's almost double. I believe that's a function of complying a lot of the cases that we've had, and then the cases that we're taking on are a little bit more involved and may take a little bit more time for the businesses or property owners to remediate. The next column, I'd just like to quickly go over maybe some of the top categories. Under open cases, the top code case for multiple violations, there were 4 there. If you go down to the closed cases, multiple violations, that number is 13, so that's triple that have been closed. Let's go to signs, which is the third up at the top, a number of 3. We have doubled that down in the closed section, more than doubled at 7 of closed. Just looking at educational cases that I've had, we've only had 1 up in the open side closed. We've had triple that in 3. I think you might see that a lot of the insight on these statistics that the cases are becoming more in depth. It's taken longer for some businesses to comply. This includes the permitting function, which is, if you guys know, the permitting, it is a drawn out, protracted process for businesses to get a lot of their permitted things needed. In the next column under interactions, I'd like to focus at average days to close case by type. The first one is IPMC, International Property Maintenance Codes, 367. To me, that's a huge number. Permits required, 211.5. And then the BTR, business tax receipt, and certificates of use at 130. The code compliance is taken way too long to go through the NOV, the NOH, and the compliance process. That noted, the Code Compliance Division has taken a proactive approach and has instituted 2 new methodologies to speed up the closure of these cases. The first one being the institution of a civil citation, whereas the code officer can show up at a property, identify the violation, and right at that point, they are given a notice of violation with a specified fine, a 10-day appeal process, and compliance date. The second methodology we've instituted is the stipulated agreement, which is a 2-party agreement between both the city and the violator. With that, both parties have agreed on a reasonable time for the compliance. And if that compliance date is not met, both parties also agreed on a specified daily fine. So I think there's a lot of motivation built into that for these people to get their issues resolved in a timely manner. So I would hope moving forward, we'll see a great improvement on those times. Let's go into the pictorial. What you see there is the Family Dollar Store. That's located right next to our brand new Bimini Square project. The property owner said a lot of their landscaping was destroyed by Ian. That's how 2+3 years now going on. They've never replaced the mulch beds. The middle picture, you'll see invasive growth of vines overtaking the ground plantings, even crawling up the trees. To the right, more missing mulch beds. And then the after photos, the mulch beds have been reestablished. All of that invasive growth has been removed. Consider that a nice success, especially for that area. It's right on Cape Coral Parkway, right next to Bimini Square. So I was pleased to get that accomplished. The next photo, this is actually Ciao Trattoria Italian restaurant. It's located just north of the bus transfer station. This case was actually complied just educationally with the business owner. I was next door citing them for an outdoor storage container, and the owner approached me and says, "Hey, am I in compliance?" I told him no. I identified all the problems. He had fence issues, he had storage issues, and of course that unpermitted storage container, which he said it was there when he purchased the property. He complied that without a notice of violation or anything. So he's to be commended for the work that he's done. Here are some of the pictures of it cleaned up. Some of the fences replaced, and all of the broken stuff has been removed. So moving on, I was asked to discuss the 1612 Cape Coral Parkway East demolition. As you see, our resident iguana population climbing up the walls, got their perch on the roof line there. I was initially brought to that property when there was a brick facade failure. It was on the news. That was cleaned up very quickly when that case came across. But if you notice at the bottom picture, the silt fencing around the project, which is a code compliance issue, has been maintained throughout the project. Here's some of the pictures of the progress. Oops, I'll go back. I would just like to say with the demolition project, there were no reported code cases related to this demolition. One of the largest demolitions I've seen in the Cape. I've been here since '02. I was at the property daily. The species were always protected with the fencing. That's our burrowing owls, which are plentiful on that property. The streets were always maintained cleanly every night. So contractor of record should be commended for their good work on that. The next subject matter I'm going to discuss is the temporary storage containers throughout the South Cape area. I have a list of the storage containers that have been addressed. There was a wig shop on 47th Terrace. He's been asked to get permits for that, and he has agreed to remove his temporary storage once his permits are up. Next is a commercial building just north of the deck bar. That was given a formal verbal warning. That was removed from the vacant lot next to that commercial building. That's also closed and complied. The Family Hardware on 47th Terrace initially had 2 outdoor storage containers, metal shipping containers, on their adjacent unimproved lot. He had moved one of those containers off-site. The second one, he moved to the back parking area of his property, which was also a violation, never got permits. He has since removed that temporary storage container and is in compliance. Next door to that is the Kiwanis Thrift at 47th Terrace. There were 2 metal containers in the back of his building. Everyone I talked to didn't know how long those have been there, so it was long standing that they were placed back there. They have both since been removed, so that's complied. Paradise Pizza also has a metal storage container. The property or business owner says he bought it that way. In addition to the metal storage container, he also had a freestanding shed. Sheds and greenhouses are not permitted by code at all in the South Cape. There's no way to get a permit for that. So he has since removed the shed. He is on his first permit, temporary use permit for the metal container. He also agrees to remove that at the expiration of his permit. The Mechanical Services Building on 47th Terrace, that's the property next to the Chow Trattoria. He's properly permitted his temporary storage container and also agrees to remove it at the expiration of his allotted permitting. So I am passing on to my new replacement officer. There's 2 locations in the South Cape with sheds in their rear. I'm asking to move forward with the removal of those under Ordinance 5.2.13.c, sheds and greenhouses not permitted in the South Cape zoning. Folks, there are no other existing storage containers in the South Cape that I know of. So I think great progress has been made with that. There was some feedback of people who had the containers. There is a business near Sidecar Treats that still has 2 containers. That's illustrated in the middle picture. He's gotten his permits. His intention was to somehow keep those on his property. He says that's vital to the operation of his business. Those have also been there over a decade. They still remain, but they are properly permitted. I just like to point out the one to the left is a temporary office for Classic Kitchens, almost at the intersection of Del Prado and Cape Coral Parkway. That was a manned office. Once their office space was damaged in Ian, there was no permitting. They ran electric, telephone. It was manned by a secretarial staff, and that was complied by the NOV activity. The far picture to the right was the Family Hardware, which is now complied. In summation, I would like to express my appreciation for the trust and the leadership shown in me to help launch this initiative to downtown to combat and refocus on the blight and the new refined code compliance approach to the items that have long missed the needed attention downtown. I hope I've left a lasting impression on the area. Some of the successes to the optics have been the overgrowth, trash and debris. Good credit goes to the CRA facilities staff, the three-man team there, for helping largely with that. There were several large landscaping cases that were complied. The Regions Bank, the Thirsties Restaurant, the CVS had a whole new landscape redo. Of course, the Bimini demo zone completion, the Family Dollar that we saw pictorial evidence of, and the Walgreens is currently undergoing a complete landscape redo. I'd like to give credit for the addressing of the new A-frame enforcement program with the assistance of Marine Bice. That's been quite effective. If you notice that, I'm getting great compliance. The signs being put in and out with business hours, placed in the right areas and not blocking sidewalks. I'd also like to give my professional thank you to my manager, Todd Hoagland, who must have seen something in me and trust that I could accomplish this project, that I was motivated to be fully on board with the project and carry it on. And of course, I'd like to thank Mr. Earl Chisholm for his nonstop focus and direction. He was very hands-on throughout my entire stay there in the CRA. And with that, I would like to introduce the new code officer, Jeffrey Jeffrey Colon.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Colon, Code Compliance Officer, and I will be your new CRA Code Compliance Officer down in the CRA. I look forward to this new challenge, and I'm open. If anybody, you all can get my number, and if you have any issues that need addressed, I'll be more than happy to address them.
Okay, thank you.
Jeff, can you explain when you started and what you've been doing since then?
I started with code compliance back in 2022, and I have been up in the northern part of the city in the residential areas. So being reassigned down here to the CRA district is going to be a new challenge for me, but I'm up to it, and I won't let you folks down.
All right, very well, thank you. Patrick, don't go anywhere.
Thank
We have
you.
some lights on. All right, we'll open this up for commissioner comments. Commissioner Lehman.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. With the iguana building that has been demolished, yeah, you talked about protecting the owls. What did you do with all the iguanas? I'm concerned that they then travel to residences beyond that area. What happened with all the iguanas?
Commissioner Lane, iguanas are considered an invasive species. They're not protected in any way. I did have the report many months earlier about the invasion reported by the locals. So nothing was handled by the city to handle this invasive species. I guess with the demolition, they are either scared away. I did get a report that there were many deceased carcasses in the building at the time at the demolition. So yeah, nothing was ever addressed to relocate if that's what you're trying to.
Yeah, that's what
There was no activity.
I'm
with
asking
that.
about, because as I say, I've had neighborhoods in that area contact me and say, we're being overrun by iguanas. And that's why, with all of those iguanas sitting up on the roof on the perch, I was curious as to what was done about them.
I could only say that I hope they were scared away at the initial destruction.
But scared away to where?
Other places of the Cape also have invasive. Zach, go please.
Just real quick, the building owner at two separate occasions did have a service come in to try to remove as many as possible prior to the demolition.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was never something that part of the demolition was a thing they had to handle with it. It was something they did on their own.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Steinke?
Thank you. Patrick, thank you. Jeff, welcome. There was a lot of thanks given out, and Patrick, thank you for recognizing those that enable the work that's being done. We all want a beautiful city. Certainly the CRA, and our whole purpose of the CRA is to remove the slum and blight that's there, seeing as it's pretty much the oldest part of our city. The one piece of thanks that didn't go out, that I would be remiss if it didn't, is the thanks to all of the businesses that were involved in the CRA that were compliant, that once they understood what the rules were that had not been followed, and that there was nothing done about violations in the past, for them to be understanding and to take the actions that they needed to, and just simply comply once they knew what the rules were. Hats off to those businesses in contributing to the beauty of our city. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Kilrain?
Yeah, in a similar light, I'm appreciative of the opportunity to be able to discuss the violation and to set a parameter for both compliance and a potential fine, and relating that to a negotiated process. I'm just wondering, what are the guardrails on that process? Within what degree of freedom do you have to do that? And do you find any issues in following those guidelines?
Commissioners, thank you very much. Todd Hoagland, Code Compliance Manager. So it's been about 4 months since we have used the stipulated agreement and agreed orders. That is, again, it is an agreement between the Code Compliance Division or the city and the owner of the property. We set a date for compliance. Again, we use a reasonable time period. We have flexibility with the time. We have the flexibility with the fines. Again, we have a maximum set. But again, there is a built-in time period to bring the property into compliance. We started using it in October of this past year. And it's an available tool that we did not have before. And overall, it's curbing the amount of cases that are presented before a special magistrate, and they are getting resolved without the necessity of a hearing.
Yeah, and I love the process. I just want to make sure that we're often criticized when we take some point of discretion on things, showing favoritism. And I just wanted to make sure that the process was within a certain set of guidelines, such that you have parameters that you have to control too. And so that it's not just, they're allowing them to do it, but they won't allow me to do it, that kind of crap. Because it's prone to that when you put discretion in the process. So I appreciate what you've done. I appreciate the process itself, and I think it's a wonderful way to solve. Thank you.
So to your point, Commissioner, some of the guardrails that we have is if it's a repeat violation, we would not enter into a stipulated agreement. If it is environmental, it is say someone's illegally dumping into a storm drain, causing an environmental concern, damage to mangroves, burrowing owl and the habitats, that would not be in play. But something where it's a land development code or something that can get resolved needing a permit, bless you, that is something that we would look into. So we've been working with ITS and our software, and this is only allowed on the traditional or any of the notices of violation. Anything that's a repeat or environmental, we would not be allowed to extend that offer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hang on, Commissioner Gunter. I see Executive Director Elchison. Or Commissioner Gunter?
Do you want me to go first?
You, yes.
Okay. I just wanted to say thank you to Patrick for all your hard work, your dedication down there. I know you was only there for a short term, but I just wanted to thank you for all the hard work that you put in to try to clean up that area, do away with the slum and blight. And I just wanted to let you know we appreciate all your efforts and look forward to working with the new code officer. I think all of us have the same desire where we're trying to make that part of the city look much better than it has been. I understand that some of these violations have been going on for many years, but just because that's the case doesn't mean it's right. So I think we are trying to have a whole different look. We are looking for developers to invest in the downtown CRA area, and I think it's important to make sure we have that area look as good as we can, make sure that the businesses are following the code requirements, because what we are asking those developers to do is spend millions of dollars down there. So I think this is just the small part that we need to do as a city to make sure that that area looks as good as it can, to make sure that those developers have a willingness to invest in our city. So thank you for all your hard work and dedication.
All right, Mr. Executive Director.
Thank you, Chair. Can you pull up the chart that shows the Patrick's statistics for the month? So the one thing that wasn't covered here, I think is important. There's 2 points to this. So if you look at the top right, proactive versus reactive, in most of the rest of the city, a lot of times what we have is residents who are calling upon residents or emailing. And down in the South Cape, the businesses aren't calling on each other, right? So what you see is 18 out of the 23 cases that were open were initiated by the code officer. So it's 80% them going around, identifying the issues, knocking on the door, hey, we need to deal with this, leaving a warning, something that says, this is the issue you need to address. And in some cases, you heard Patrick talk about just all those pods. There were many more pods he got addressed that didn't even turn into a case or an NOV. So, and there's no reporting criteria for those because they don't ever become cases. And so there's a whole bunch of work, field work, legwork, education from the code officer to the businesses on what the expectations are and what the codes are that we don't even see. And so while you see what becomes a case, there's a whole lot more that doesn't, that adds to that green bar that says there were 18% proactive. If you were to take all the stuff that was accomplished and add it to that, you might see it's 99% proactive. And that's really what we're after in the South Cape. And so as I mentioned that, I do think it's important. Last week, there was a major news story and a disruption in the environment of the CRA related to outdoor storage and some barbed wire fences at a businesses down there. And I think it would be important that we go over with you all what the code requirement is and what the warning that was issued with our code officer. So if we can, I'd like you to address the MXB and what it would take to get to a correction so that it doesn't turn into an NOV.
No. And just to clarify, Mr. Executive Director, you're talking about the community fridge located outside of the plumbing?
Yes, and that, and there wasn't just that one that got outdoor storage that day.
There's
So
others.
as you see, they're sweeping instances or examples, and they're going through all the businesses that have that. These aren't targeted. It's okay, we're going after outdoor storage. That's next on the list. We're going to get them all. We're going after pods. We're going to get them all. We're going after landscaping. We're going to go through them all. So as we find time and clear out things, we get to the next thing. And so it's going to take some time to get all this turned around. But in the middle of that is also the code officers doing their job, being proactive, trying to get to the point where we need to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Executive Director. So over the past 3 or 4 months, the litter and debris cases that we have had in the CRA area, we had a total of 20 cases. So it's not just one property. We've addressed this issue in the CRA, again, litter and debris, either blowing around or outside of a container. So we've had 20 different cases with that. Regarding the outdoor storage requirement, we've had 14 other cases. Again, Patrick had shown some wonderful examples up here during his slideshow, but we had a total of 14 different cases throughout the area for the same exact violation. For the fences and walls, in this particular case, it is a prohibited item on the fence. The attachment is barbed wire. That has never been allowed. Correct. Never been allowed in the history of the city of Cape Coral. There were a couple of businesses in the area that had the barbed wire in the alleyway protecting some of their outdoor storage. In this case, one was voluntary complied a couple, maybe 6 weeks ago, and then this one that was brought to light last week. Again, barbed wire, it has never been allowed by the city, so it was added to the list of violations. Again, asking for their voluntary compliance to remove the barbed wire from their fenced-in area. Again, if you want to talk, again, just to the point I just had written down, the amount of, to the executive director's point, Code Officer Mercado in the past year has had 123 different cases of educational opportunities to businesses in the South Cape area, letting them know what the community standards are, asking them to come into voluntary compliance. And he has had a very high success rate of 95% compliance rate, and only 5% need to either go to a hearing or need to have a civil citation notice of violation issued. So again, the approach is working, the area is getting cleaned up, and the code officers have some flexibility here. And again, he has a high success rate in the CRA area. So any other questions you need to address?
No, Amy, if you could come up and discuss the zonings that we have in the downtown within our CRA and the differences between it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioners. For the record, Amy Yearsley, City Planning Manager. The CRA has 2 zoning districts that are in it. We have the South Cape zoning and we have the MXB zoning. This particular property that we're discussing is in the MXB zoning district. The MXB zoning district is more restrictive actually than the South Cape zoning district. It came about after our visioning plan for the Bimini. So that's how it came about. So in the South Cape zoning district, if you look at the actual use table, the use table does not allow outdoor storage as a primary use. However, in the text, you do see that outdoor storage is allowed as an ancillary use, not on a primary street designation, but on the other designations, because we have a street hierarchy in the South Cape. So in the South Cape, as long as it is not visible from a roadway or a platted alley, from a roadway, then you will be able to have outdoor storage. That does not exist in the MXB. That language is not replicated there. So it is not allowed. In order to allow outdoor storage in that area, we would have to make a code change that would then allow it in certain instances. And then we could do the same thing. We discussed this at our last CRA meeting. We talked about the storage containers. We could allow it if we do a code change, and we could put location requirements, we could put screening requirements and things like that, if it is the desire of the commission or the city council.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let's see, we have 2 more reports, and I apologize, I didn't ask any of you if you wanted to hear them. I just kind of barreled through. So do you guys want to hear the next 2 reports? I personally would, but I'll go with consensus. Okay, all right. Let's go on to our next report, the CRA maintenance report.
Again, Zach Gogol, CRA Project Manager. Commissioners, what I have for you is the maintenance report for the CRA, just going over what our crew has been looking at as far as enhancing within the CRA and some of the projects we've been working on. Reminder, faces of our crew here, we have George, Rolando, and Joey, and that's what makes up our team. This project here, we pressure washed the pavers in front of Hampton Inn along 47th Terrace to enhance the appearance. Those pavers were originally installed when the hotel was built there, and they had not been maintained at any point since then. And since it's a public use sidewalk, we pressure washed it to give it a better enhanced appearance to the area. And you can see in the right picture there, the bottom half is before it was pressure washed, and the top half is a little bit brighter, a little bit nicer for the area. And we've gone through, and there's some other slides here of what we've pressure washed. On Club Square, we have 3 pocket parks that are attached to that. There's sidewalks that connect to the streets that run parallel with the parking lot. And along those, we have some park benches and some landscaping. So we go through periodically and maintain and trim up some of the trees for a better appearance in the area. And as you can see, the pavers are looking a little, not as well maintained as the other areas. So this is one of the projects we'll be focusing on in this quarter is pressure washing these pavers. We go through alleyways and maintain the tree heights around utility poles and clean things up. A lot of times these little areas get missed. Here we had a dirt pile, there were some shells and other things, and we cleaned those shells up and some of the dirt to give a better appearance to the area. And then you can see here, this is more of the invasive growth that we find in alleyways and other locations that have not been maintained. And we will run through and take care of things like this to give it an immediate enhancement to the area, to the alleyway. And here's some more pressure washing. So with Bimini Square coming online and with the closest park to that being Four Freedoms, we wanted to make sure that we maintained a clear pathway for the green space use for those residents and for anybody coming in eventually when the boat docks do open at the Bimini Basin Restaurant. If they are public use and if somebody wants to pull in there and walk over to Four Freedoms, they would be more than welcome to do so. And so since it's a more narrow pathway, we wanted to make sure we gave that clearance with the hedge and removal of the dirt on the sidewalk. And then we went through and pressure washed it to give a better appearance. And you can see on the left picture where it's a little dull and sandy. And on the right side, you can see that red texture and appearance come back through it, give it some color and life. And that's what I have for the maintenance and what our maintenance crew has been up to.
Thank you, Zach. I have commissioner comments. Let's see, Commissioner Sankey.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make note with regard to the pavers down by the new Bimini Square project and the restaurant on the water. I happened to be there this past weekend wanting to attend by boat and with no knowledge that the docks weren't open there. With one phone call, our Public Works Department was there at Four Freedoms Park installing cleats, safety equipment, and ladders all along the wall there for those boaters that want to partake of the facilities there at the Bimini project as well as Four Freedoms Park. And so hats off to the responsiveness of staff for going down and helping solving a problem. So not only did your maintenance crew handle it on the land side, but our Public Works Department handled it from the water side. So appreciate that responsiveness and the help to allow people to come to our businesses down there and enjoy the parks, both by land and by water. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Zach. We'll go on to the CRA project report.
All right. I promise this one isn't as long as it's normally been. We're definitely completing some projects in the CRA, so it's getting shorter as time progresses through. So with our project report, we have about 28 pages, and I believe we started somewhere around 44, 45 pages of project reports. The first two that we have, these have been ongoing for some time. We just got a new plan submitted on Friday of last week for the parking lots on Vincennes, and we're currently reviewing so that way when it does get submitted for the next round of the site development permit, hopefully it passes through without any rejection. So it's just a pre-planning thing where we run it through and make sure that if there is any issues with it, that we correct it prior to it going through the entire process. And with these two parking lots, we have about 40 spaces with the north one and about 23 with the south parking lot. And our goal is although they started as two different projects, is that when we go out to bid to save time and costs, is we want to put these together for construction on the same bid package. We have the Big John's request for interest. We have compiled some data and some key needs for the Big John's area. So it is a public parking lot, and one of the key things we were looking for with any kind of interest is to double the amount of public parking spaces we have there and to incorporate and activate the plazas. So we have the Big John's Plaza, and the last thing that we want to do is have the back of the building face the Big John's Plaza with the businesses there. So we would like to see them incorporate some kind of commercial aspect where the businesses on the alley side of the building are facing the Big John's businesses. So that way it can activate a walkway, pathway for pedestrians to use and kind of energize that space. We could see special events there and other things in the future. And then the third thing is with providing some kind of waste services through compactors for the surrounding businesses. Currently in Big John's, we do have 2 dumpster enclosures that support the surrounding businesses, and it has to be incorporated somehow, some way. And so the intent for request for interest is to see what kind of development developers would like to put into Big John's. And then this is the area of the Big John's parking lot, including the east and west side. We have the Club Square compactors and enclosures. We started this as a project in Big John's, but with interest of the commissioners to move forward with a RFI for Big John's, we have now moved this project over to Club Square to enact the compactors with the Club Square dumpsters, and to harden the enclosures for the Club Square compactors. We went out through the procurement process and started working with one engineering firm. It's a small project, so it's hard to get a larger firm on board with a project this size. So we ended up moving to another firm, an engineering firm, and they're currently working on a staff cost proposal for the compactors and enclosures in the parking lot. And so that I just want to explain that as why you see this on here with not so much progress, but we are working through things behind the scenes where it does take time, and it takes time for responses from these engineering firms. And again, what the compactor will look like and the enclosure style that we're looking for them. We have the Cape Coral Parkway 6-laning signal retiming and parking project. On this project here, I do have an update. So we received final numbers from budget post sending the agenda out with this packet. The actuals for this project are at 135, 288. It is not the 188 and $39. So I just wanted to give that update there. Now there's anticipated dates that are important, and we're still on schedule for those. In May of this year, we are anticipating to go forward with the notice to proceed, and we are looking for substantial completion by November of 26. And that is important before the holidays, before the festival lights and the different projects. We are aware of the festivities that happen in the area. And we want to make sure that this is significantly completed prior to. There may be some things related to curbing or trees afterwards, but the asphalt will be laid and everything will be striped prior to having any kind of special event in the area. And I do want to note that this is a city-funded project. We have the Country Club Boulevard median landscaping. So this project here is making significant progress. Since our last meeting, we went forward with the notice to proceed. The contractor went through, we had identified all the burrowing owl nests. They were all protected prior to the start of the project. They've ran most of the irrigation outside of those 33-foot buffer zones. And they have removed any trees that were not on the plans to remain for this project. We also have signed a permissive use agreement allowing them of a city property to store some of the landscaping material on and some of their equipment. And that would be on the other side of the loop on Palm Tree, which is about a mile in either direction for them to utilize, as that was the closest lot that we had. This project's ongoing. We anticipate that we'll have significant progress within 5 to 6 months, minus the areas where those buffer zones are for the burrowing owl nests, as those will come after the nesting season. And here's some pictures you can see of the irrigation on the left side there. You have some hoses that are popping up over the curbing. And then on the right side, you can see where the tree was removed and it's awaiting for stump removal or grinding. We had the Palm Tree Boulevard landscaping project. So this connects the loop, and not to be confused by Palm Tree, but it continues through Wildwood all the way to Country Club. I do want to make that clear. This project, we sent out the bid. We received 3 responses, and we plan to have a contract for one of those responses on the May CRA agenda. So that's some of the constraints we're behind with projects in the CRA, not having that until a few weeks ago and not having enough time for procurement to get it through. It delays a project by 2 months until our next CRA meeting. And here's the current conditions, again, without the curbing and without the landscaping upgrade. And there is a little access management component to it as well, where you have access to every street. By FDOT standards, you do not have enough length of a de-acceleration lane for the turn. So we do close off some of those, but that's all been notated in the plans. We have the Cape Coral Parkway streetlight retrofit. I don't know if any of you commissioners have had time to drive down Cape Coral Parkway, but we've had some significant progress. The section between Palm Tree and Coronado is completed, and actually, and we write these about a week ahead of time. We've completed the eastbound Cape Coral Parkway all the way from Coronado to Del Prado. So from Palm Tree to Del Prado, eastbound's completed. Now on the westbound, we still have to complete from Del Prado to Coronado, but from Coronado to Palm Tree is completed. We anticipate that with the poles that were received on the last shipment of the 2nd of March, that the project will be completed within 60 days of that. However, there is one caveat. We had some poles come in damaged. So until we get new poles from the manufacturer, the project won't be fully completed. However, with the poles that we have that we received that are in acceptable quality, which we went through almost with the magnifying glass, it will be completed with this project. And again, the pole that we're installing is on the right side, and on the left picture there is where our laydown yard is that some of you may be familiar with. We have the Bimini Basin mooring field. On this one here, the Army Corps of Engineers had sent the second request for information to Florida Fish and Wildlife on February 2nd, and we are waiting for a response for this project. And here pictured is those 15 moors that we have in that mooring field. We have the 47 Terrace FDC project. I'm happy to say that at least one of the properties out of the 4 has had its final inspection and is completed there. And we're working on final inspections for the other 3 properties tomorrow and hope to complete this project out after that. And these are the 4 locations. The back streets is the one that received the final inspection completion, and the other 3 are the ones that we are waiting for. And here's what that FDC looks like. We've seen it a couple times at this point, but it's running that connection to the back of the building to allow for use of special events on 47 Terrace. We had the Founders Park Captain Walk. We went out for a formal request for quote on March 4th, and the response deadline of that is March 31st. And based off the responses we get, we hope we have something for approval if the project is above that threshold of 100,000 for you at the May meeting. If not, if it's below, and we're thinking it's hovering around there, and then we'll approve it through our procurement process of approval. And again, current conditions on the left, and the right side is the map location of where Founders Park is north to Club Square. We had the Palm Tree Public Square. And I do thank you, commissioners, for approving Amendment 1 to this project. So the first design phase was a conceptual design, and now we can move forward with detailed design plans to construct with. So we will be moving forward with the Amendment 1 and be sharing progress as we continue with this project for the detailed design plans of the Palm Tree Public Square. This will include a fountain feature in the plans of that Amendment 1. It will be produced by Waltzing Waters as something that's significant to the city of Cape Coral. We want to make sure that we honor this in a special way. And this is the concept that the original plan had put together, and we'll be moving forward on detailed design from here. And then we have Bimini East. Currently, we are anticipating the presentation to council sometime by the end of April of this year. Additionally, we are working for the vacation of easements and right-of-ways. We have received 2 letters back out of the 3 utility providers. So we are waiting for the last one so we can officially vacate the roadways within that, in the areas we are able to. And here's that timeline with that anticipated or estimated April 2026 council presentation. And this is Bimini East in its current condition and the way the parcels look on LIPA. And with that, I'll take any questions. Hopefully it was a little quicker than some of the other ones, but.
Thank you, Zach.
Yep.
Hold, please. Commissioner Stanky?
Thank you. Zach, just a quick, on page 30 that you had up, is there any significance to the different colored outlined parcels?
There is not. And I know you mentioned it last time. I did not make the change. I apologize. It was something that was highlighted while I was clicking through, and I forgot to unhighlight it. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then just a note with the thought of the parking and whatnot that we have in the CRA and the opening of Oak and Stone. We've talked about, I brought it up a couple times before, but I'd bring it to your attention too. On the northeast corner of 9th Place and 47th Terrace, which is basically, if you will, kitty corner from Oak and Stone, the no parking striped areas there are striped very close to the actual parking striping that's in the area there. And there are cars parking there, thinking that they're parking spaces. I would recommend either narrowing the stripes or painting them yellow or something, because we've got parking that goes in one direction that's really parking. And then we have the same type of lines, if you will, going in a different diagonal that many people are evidently assuming is parking too, but they're meant to be no parking stripes.
Yeah, a few months ago, we did go through and had them restriped. However, I do understand what you are bringing up, and I will work with transportation and see what engineering can provide as additional striping to the area that's consistent with the FDOT standards.
Okay, all right, cool. And the last is, it was your slide, it relates to the Bimini mooring field. It's slide 19. With the approved budget of 497, 331 and expenditures to date of 367, 138, and the position that we're in right now versus completion, are we going to blow budget on that, or is what is left to be done there less significant financially?
This is a city project. I don't believe I have the project manager here for that project, so I can't speak behind the mooring field itself. So we can get back to you with an answer. Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. That's it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Long?
Thank you. Yeah, real quick, Zach, thanks again for this. Always very informative and great work on the progress that we've made. Just a quick question, mostly for the public here. When you go back and you look at the Palm Tree Median landscaping project, originally the approved budget was 1.5 in the last update in January, and now it's 3. Can we just explain, just for everyone really quickly, how that got to be?
Yeah, so with the Palm Tree Boulevard, the median project, there's an anticipated budget prior to design, and sometimes design brings a different projected cost, the OPC. And with this project, with the projected cost, we enhanced some of the medians in certain areas. We took a look in front of the old golf course, and that median was significantly reduced at some time. So we had to expand out the median and add some landscaping plantings in some other areas. And I believe when the project first started, access management may have not been a component when it was originally thought of. And that additional cost of access management, filling in medians, adding additional curbing does add to the cost of the project. But this approved budget here that we currently have does match what the consultant has provided to us for the cost of the project.
Understood. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Mr. Executive Director?
I just want to circle back to the painting. So when we spoke about that last, we went there and took a look at it, had it refreshed, tried to shrink it down a little. Maybe that didn't happen. As far as yellow goes, yellow is only allowed on the inside of travel lanes. So that it's a uniform standard across the United States on the MUTCD. So yellow has to be between lanes, not on the outside. White's reserved for the outside. I think what we could do there actually is we could probably look at another project, for a smaller project for next year's budget, and actually remove the asphalt and put a bulb out there with landscaping. Improve the area. I mean, that's what we're all trying to do. So rather than just having unused asphalt, let's put curbing in there like we have down 47th, bring in the travel lane, add some landscaping, make it look better. So we'll look at a project for next year. But in the meantime,
Maybe a bench for seating.
anything.
That kind of stuff, 'cause you got more and more people down there with those businesses.
Yep.
All right, let's see, Commissioner Gunter.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the report that you had given there, Zach. Just one quick question, the RFI for Big John's parking lot. When is that RFI expire? What's the date of expiration? You have to have the bids in by?
Yeah, so that RFI has not gone out yet. I'm going to work with the executive director within the next week or two to make sure that we have it concise from the direction that you have provided, the commission has, and we will be sending it out.
Okay, and when that does occur, if you could maybe give us the dates, when it's going to go out, once you know, and when the expiration date is, so we have an idea of the time that's allowed to get those submissions in.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Long?
Thank you. Real easy. I forgot to ask last time. Did we ever get the parking gate working at the Cove lot, the parking garage?
Yes, it is operational now.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
And Zach, just one thing from me real quick. I know that when we toured on Tuesday, we went, by the Iguana building, and we talked about the demo grant that the CRA was able to award the owner to assist with the demo. And I know we have like the old military museum, which I think you said was the same owner, and that thing's been for sale forever. Do you know at all if there's any interest in that, or if if that owner wants to apply for anything to either take that building down or develop it, or?
Currently, they've listed that property for lease. They're looking to sublease it and lease it out, and I think split it up in 7 different units.
Oh, okay.
So if you look online, it's currently listed. Yeah.
Okay, great. I had a resident reach out to me about that last night, so I appreciate the clarity. All right, seeing no more, thank you so much. Next on our agenda, we have comments from the board. Do I have any comments from any of our commissioners? I have one. and I don't know if this is the appropriate time to bring it up, but since Amy's here and we kind of touched upon it, I want to talk about that community fridge and talk about potential solutions. Would it be okay to bring Ms. Yearsley up and kind of review the 3 options she gave us in the email?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Okay.
Amy can come up. I mean, generally, what we try to do with all the businesses, like you heard from code, is we try to get them to comply first, right? So the business owner or the owner of the residential property down there is the one that typically caused the action or caused the compliance issue. So our first goal is always to try to get them to alleviate the issue that they cause. So I think you'll hear several of the solutions are for the, our owner to comply. And then if there's some reason that the owner cannot comply and you're looking for a governmental solution, then I think there's also a governmental solution that would be a little bit more complex.
Okay. I just want, for public purposes, Amy, if you could just review those. I know that I've spoken with several business owners. I had several fence companies reach out to me saying that they would donate an enclosure, but I explained to them, based upon the information I received from you, we received from you in the email, that wasn't going to be possible because they can't have an enclosure on the front side and they're not zoned correctly for it. I've had several businesses reach out to me and they were interested, but they just don't want the liability, right? In case someone gets sick from the food, because actually they're not a nonprofit, so they don't follow under the state statute that protects you if you're a food pantry. So if you could just go through those solutions, that would be super.
Thank you. For the record, Amy Yearsley, City Planning Manager. For the purpose of transparency, I think I will share with the public the options and the email that I shared with the council. So we provided, as the city manager said, a number of options. One was governmental, 3 were compliance, voluntary compliance. So I'm going to go through those first, and then we'll talk about the last one. So options for the property owner and the business to address the violation include removing the refrigerator and shelving from the property, relocating to the interior of the building, or potentially partnering with another food security organization to place the fridge in a place where that type of outdoor storage is allowed. The city and governmental solution to this particular issue would be to amend our MXB zoning regulations to allow outdoor storage under specific conditions, and talk, like I said before earlier, with location restrictions as well as screening restrictions. That will take more time. It will require planning and zoning action. It will require city council action. So those are the options that we put forth for the solution. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Yearsley. All right. Well, I just wanted to I know that I went by that property and I know that several of us has gone by and that poor woman has gotten probably 10 conflicting stories. So I did read her your email and say, these are the options. And obviously if you can comply, that would be great. But in the meantime, these are potential solutions until we figure out the long-term solution. So I just wanted to clarify that for the public. So I appreciate you. All right. Any other comments? All right, seeing none. Time and place of future meetings, Wednesday, May 13th, 2026, CRA regular meeting at 9 a.m. in council chambers. May I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. Thank you. We'll take about a 10-minute break and then we'll come back for council of the whole. Committee of the